What's going on, people? Welcome to episode 31 of the Hip Hop Orchestra, and I'm joined by an amazing friend of mine. She is the amazing Tanya Cracknell, aka the Grime Violinist. How you doing, Tan? You okay?
Hey G,
Hey,
nice to see
Ted.
you.
You
Nice to see you
too.
after so long. I'm good. How's it
Yeah.
going for you?
You know what? Life is actually pretty good at the moment, apart from the lockdown, obviously. But you know what? I can't complain. Still keeping really busy.
Good,
Like,
well done.
thank you. How about you, though? How you been?
Yeah, it feels busy, but in a different way at the
Yeah.
moment. Normally this is festival season. We'd be all over the shop, traveling around the country, gigging live, doing as much as possible, making your biggest money of the year, and none of that's really happening. So
I know.
yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
I'm loving writing music even more than usual. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of what I spend my days doing, writing and recording for people's projects. Like, to be honest, like even like around the world, it doesn't have to be UK now because everyone's kind of got this vibe of like everything can be done online, so it's cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. And we just got a puppy, so that's
I
the other
saw.
half of my. I'm a fur baby mum now, so that's like
Oh,
takes up a lot of the time. But yeah, she's cute AF. She might make an appearance later.
oh, please. I love to see the dog. I see the pictures now. It's adorable.
Yes,
Is that your first
gorgeous.
ever dog that you've had?
Yeah, I've never had a pet before. So yeah, I've
What?
been wanting a little dog for like, I realized it was 8 years. I bought a book on little dogs 8 years ago and I've manifested her since then. So she's been a long time coming, but hey.
Well, oh, that's really, like, so cute. I want a dog myself.
Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
do it, man. Although like, I didn't realize how much time it is getting a puppy. Like, she's up at 4 or 5 in the morning and if you don't sort of tend to her, you don't get any
yeah.
sleep anyway. So
Oh, I can
yeah,
imagine.
if I get her out now from the
Yeah.
other room and show you, like, she will then whine for the rest of the podcast. So I'll get her at the end, remind me, and
I
then
will
she'll
do.
say hi at the end.
I'll try to be quick then so I don't interrupt. But how's life though been for you? Like, obviously, I've known you for years. Actually, for people that don't actually know, like, you were actually the first official member, weren't you, of the Hip Hop Orchestra?
What a first!
The
Yes,
the very
winner. I
first.
am. I'm Hip Hop Orchestra alumni.
Yo,
That's
hell
kind of how
yeah.
I feel. You know what I mean? I've sort of gone off and did a solo thing after that. But yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was awesome because like it was one of the first times that I was sort of combining. I knew that I wanted to diversify out of classical. And I'd
Mm.
done few things before, like SBTV and stuff like that, before you guys, I think.
Hmm.
And then when I joined in with you guys, I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I want to do,
Yeah,
for my living. Non-classical violin is the one. Do you know what I mean? It's just so much more fun playing the music that you love.
of
I love
course.
classical, but it
Mm.
just, I've been playing it since I was 7. I
Yeah.
was like, I was ready for a change. And yeah, I just thought, yeah, playing music that I love means that I vibe with it more on stage. So people vibe with me on stage. Like, it's all about authenticity, isn't it?
Of course it
You know,
is.
so
I said to
people
other people
feel
as well that when you play the stuff that you love, people can tell the extent that you're loving it as well, can't they?
100%. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
make sure, even when people ask me, oh, can you do this song for an event because it's like my favorite or something, I will find a remix that I like if I don't like the song. Like, I have to love what I do. Otherwise, why do we do it? I may as well be working in a,
Of
I don't know, I was going to
course.
say bank then, but then I'm ostracizing all the bankers. But
Yeah.
it's really for
Like,
me.
what was the moment for you that really kind of sparked the momentum for you in terms of playing your own stuff? Was it like during grades or like kind of doing the usual sort of things? What was the moment for you that really sparked this whole different route for you?
It was way after grades. So obviously, like, I started playing when I was 7. Did lessons within school. We had like big class lessons, which is a bit mad. I don't know if that still happens on the violin or not. But then I moved to lessons outside of school, did all the grades, and then sort of did A-level music and stuff like that. And then when I left for university, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to go to uni, just basically, as everyone says, it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I chose music because I was getting to get best grades and I kind of knew what I was doing playing the violin wise. Went to uni, it was still all classical. You
Mm.
know what I mean? The only non-classical I did would be playing along to the radio. in my room. You know, it wasn't public at all. So that is also like a really good thing I'd recommend anyone to do, is to, if you're classically trained or a little bit worried about getting off the paper, you know, because when you're classical, you just read off the score. You know, you get taught how to read off the score, and that's what you do. It's very unusual, unless you're a soloist, a solo concerto player, that you have to memorize stuff. So the best thing to do to learn improvisation is to play along to the radio and to the stuff that you love. So I was kind of doing that. And then when I left university, I realized I didn't want to become a classical player. So I did every job you could think of, literally, like everything from, I ended up managing a music venue, everything from that to washing car windscreens, like literally every job you can think of. And then the odd sort of thing came through, like the SBTV string sessions that my quartet played with, the hip hop orchestra, of course, playing non-classical stuff more sort of for events abroad and things like that. And it was getting a little bit more sort of exciting. Do you know what I mean? Like instead of playing Pachelbel's Canon for someone's wedding, someone was flying me out to Italy to play some, you know, gospel for someone else's wedding. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, actually, this is what I want to do. If I could do anything. So yeah, I after 5 years working in a music venue, I quit my sort of decently paid 9-to-5 job to go be a non-classical freelance violinist, which was a bit mad. But it's the best decision I ever made.
No, I can imagine, because I've seen like that meteoric rise over the last few years for you when you became the Grime Violinist, and it's mental how fast it's just grown. Like,
yeah,
I was so proud.
I was just literally doing what I love. It wasn't the sort of, I didn't have a game plan. It became a game plan. Do you know what I mean? So I put up some, you know, non-classical stuff on Instagram. I joined Instagram pretty late, sort of 3, maybe even 4 years ago now, but that was still late at the time. Put up some stuff, and then I just put up a track of one of, like, playing along to one of my favorite grime tracks, and people really liked it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, because I like doing that too. So I'm going to make a thing of that. And eventually I was like, I'm going to call myself a grime violinist, let's just go for it. Got myself a logo, and the rest is history.
That's amazing. And how have you dealt with that kind of instant meteoric rise? Because I've seen, like, obviously the work you've done.
It didn't feel instant to me.
No, I know it's like
it's like a 3-year slow burner to me.
No, I keep interrupting. So I'm so excited to, like, find out more, because obviously, like you said, I've seen, like, what you've done over the past few years. You've worked with so many incredible people and amazing projects, and it feels like every day or every other week we're doing something amazing. How have you kind of dealt with that kind of? I know it's
definitely been busy. It's hard to think like that, because obviously since lockdown, everything's slowed down.
Yeah.
I'm still doing collaborations, like as a recording artist, but it's so different. Even not getting in the studio with people, you know, recording from home, that's a different sort of, you know, headspace, and not performing live is a madness. So there's been less collaboration. So I'm having to think back like 6 months now. Yeah, it's just exciting, and take everything as it comes. I think I should probably reflect a bit more. Like, doing podcasts like this makes me reflect on what I have done. Because, you know, not many people just read their own CV and remember what they've done. Do you know what I mean? As soon as I finish something, a project, I'm on to the next. And I'm proud of myself, but I don't really reflect on that. So that's probably what I should do a bit more of. But yeah, it's going well. As I say, I sort of get to choose the music that I love these days. And make sure that, you know, the quality is up there, and just, I'm still loving it. It hasn't lost its shine yet. It
hasn't, for sure. And that's why I'm so bloody proud of what you've done, like, literally since the beginning.
Thank you for your support. You supported me, like, for the last, when did we meet?
8 years ago.
8?
Yeah. I've known you for 8 years.
8 years? No way.
Yeah, because
well, in that case, you met me definitely at the very beginning of, like, non-classical playing, because that was fun. Definitely.
Yeah, I remember when we first met, literally 8 years ago. You literally were the first person I ever met for this idea, and I think when you you emailed me or texted me, like, when I put the word out, say I'm looking for obviously people to join the orchestra.
That was it. Yeah. So I had my sort of I had my 9 to 5 then, and it was 7 to 12. But I had that job then, but it was good because your rehearsal premises was like just down the road from my job, so I could come on afterwards.
Yeah, it's
Oh
perfect.
my goodness, yeah. So like, yeah, I appreciate your support from then
Anytime,
till
yeah.
now.
No, because I love it. It's my pleasure. No, because I love to support people that deserve it. And I knew from the get when I first met you, I thought she's going to do something amazing. And
Oh,
like I
that's so
said,
nice
when
of
you
you.
became the Grime Violinist, it's like a whole brand. You put like a superhero in a way. Like you're like kind of like what? Time to do that again?
It's
Yes.
funny you should say that. Someone cartooned me as a superhero, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to use that in like a music video or something.
No way, did they?
Yeah. So.
That's mad. But talking about kind of these sort of events that you've done over the last in fact, years actually. Do you have any kind of ones in your mind that you're some of your favourites that you've done so far?
Yeah, loads. So one of my favourites was definitely performing with Gigs and Mr. Easy on the Big Narstie show.
Mad.
That was probably like 2 years ago now, I'd say. And that
Yeah.
that was crazy. They just found me on Instagram.
Wow.
Gigs' manager, no, Mr. Easy's manager, found me on Instagram and thought, yeah, it'd be quite cool to have a live violinist for London town. So I was pretty gassed.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was mad. Yeah, the whole thing. Makeup artist, dressing rooms, like was treated really, really well actually by Channel 4, and I felt like, oh my god, that's so exciting. Just to sort of to meet those guys and have down to earth conversations with people that you've seen on screen for years was pretty exciting.
That's mad. Do you ever get kind of starstruck when you meet these kind of people that you get to talk to behind the scenes?
Not really. I'm not really that kind of person. I think that would be an issue if I was.
Yeah.
I think if you are, it's unlikely that they're gonna, want to work again in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like it's flattering if you go, wow, I love your stuff. That's enough.
Yeah.
If you get sort of overwhelmed, I think they'll be like, okay, next. Try to hold that down.
You know what? Talk about that kind of thing though. Like obviously you got a huge following now, and literally everyone I've spoken to, they know of you. They know of you and your work. Do people recognize you as well? Recognize you now off the street as well? Like, think, oh my god, the Grime Violinist.
They recognize me in East London.
Okay, that's
all
good
my
enough.
recognitions have happened like around here. Apart from East London, no. But sometimes sort of people in the street, and that's like it's absolutely. You know what? It happened in lockdown, and I was having a really rubbish day because lockdown for everyone was a bit mental. Hard on the brain, and I went for a walk down the river here, and I was in a foul mood, and then this guy's walking with his girlfriend, was like, you Grime Violinist? And I was like, yeah, and I was just like, I was really looking angry and like looking like trash. I was like, oh yeah, and he was just like, keep it up, you're amazing. I walked off and I was just like, oh, thank you. I really needed that today.
I mean, he started commenting that makes you feel so good, doesn't it? Like you said, you had a bad.
Just the little things. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I make sure that as much as possible, if I sort of, if I see someone likewise, do you know what I mean? It's really nice to compliment people. I think I learned that a bit late in life. But if I see something I like, even if someone's wearing something nice, just saying, what you're wearing is wicked. Like it could take their day. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
It's just, I think in London we get a little bit standoffish about that kind of thing, just talking.
Yeah.
But leave London and people just talk at you, and like it happened to me the other day, and I was like, why are they talking to me? Like, why is this lady talking to me? And I was like, oh, okay, that is what happens.
Yeah. Such a London. Such a London.
We need that. We need some.
We do like heart to heart, don't we? But you know what? I was saying that when I put on Twitter. I think you liked it. Where I put on Twitter saying that when I started the podcast, it's been literally one of the best things I've done because, like you said, like it's such a London thing where people don't really talk to each other in the street. But
exactly.
Yeah, but with the podcast, we just sit down and chat to people, and like I said earlier about kind of reminiscing what we've done in the past and talk about things like the ups and downs, these kind of things. It just helps you kind of.
Yeah, man. It's like therapy.
It's like therapy in a way. And like people don't realize that therapy, I don't really think about it that way. It's mad. You just talk about your feelings about things. It's amazing. And
so necessary. And like, I think something that like Americans have got right, like in terms of like people have a shrink when they don't feel that they need it. It's just a normal thing to speak to someone about, how they were feeling that week. And if you
Yeah.
don't have, if your best mate isn't, someone you'd want to talk about that kind of stuff with, it's really good to have someone impartial. So yeah, I'm all for therapy,
Yeah.
but this is just a way of doing it on a more friendly level.
Of course.
And taking the time as well. If it's a podcast, you're going to sort of dedicate that time to speaking. It's just not like I'm just like, oh sorry, I've got to nip out there. It's
Yeah.
dedicated time. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. That's why
Have you
I love
found it? You said is this number 31?
31 now. Yeah, 31.
Oh,
Yeah. And
congrats, Steve.
I think it's mad, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, you only just, I feel like I only just saw your tweet saying you're going to start that.
yeah,
That's a big output.
it is. Thank you. Like, I find it so addictive because I love to learn from people, like really inspirational people like yourself. And when I just sit down and talk about just like life in general, how you started and how lockdown's been for you and how you're getting on with life, it's just a nice way of catching up with people and just seeing how they're getting on as well, and just have a conversation and learn from different people as well about how they deal with different things is such a nice way of doing things. And like you said, we like, as musicians, obviously that route is kind of out the window now, isn't it, in terms of performing and stuff, which is such a shame.
Yeah, exactly. I think many people will be struggling of how to sort of handle that. Do you know what I mean? So I think keeping in touch in these ways, it's so important.
Yeah, it really is. And how has lockdown been for you in general, though? Have you been feeling okay in general? Or
You know what,
yeah.
in height of lockdown, so weird story, my boyfriend and I were actually in Bali when lockdown happened.
Oh, really?
So and our flights were cancelled to get back home because it was sort of everything was getting cancelled, and it was touch and go whether we'd actually make it back to London. So we were very lucky and got the last flight from Singapore back into London, and by that time everything had locked down. So we were out there having a nice time, thinking, I don't know how bad it is over there, because in Bali they sort of, it was in Bali, but not, they weren't taking it too seriously at that time. So we thought, it's, maybe it'll be the same at home, and maybe it'll be a bit of hype on the news. Mm-hmm. And then when we landed and got a taxi back to our flat, like, it was a ghost town. It was the weirdest thing, because we'd left London, it was normal, and where we'd been had been pretty normal, apart from Singapore airport being a bit deserted. Mm-hmm. And then we made it back here, and it felt like I was in an episode of Black Mirror or something. There was no one, literally no one. I've never seen, we're driving through central London, and okay, this is big now, this is real now. You guys have already sort of got used to it for a few days, and we were just like, oh my god. It was freaky. That got me down for a good while. I think the first couple of weeks I was like, it's okay, I'll get loads of projects done. Do you know what I mean? When you've got that practical head of like, okay, problem solving, I'll write that album I always wanted to do, blah blah blah. Give it 2 weeks and I was just like not getting out of bed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad, man. I just like, it hit me in a sort of 2 or 3 weeks in. It wasn't good. It wasn't in a good way. Like mornings, I didn't see mornings. There was days where like some people were like excited about not having to wash. I just didn't wash because I was too depressed to get out of, to actually do those things. So a good few weeks was spent struggling. I think it was mainly just a weird situation. Do you know what I mean? Being stuck in. I'm someone that always likes to go outside. Mm-hmm. But also I have diabetes, so I was on the risk list. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even want to go outside, because even though we were in lockdown, I live in East London and people were still going out. Mm-hmm. So I was a bit scared to go out, except at night. So I literally didn't leave except in darkness for weeks. And it was just the weirdest thing for my brain. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't good. So we got through it. Hey.
Thank God.
And as soon as it eased slightly, as soon as lockdown eased slightly, and I just got a little bit braver to go out, with a mask, and the government finally decided that we could go out as long as we do these social distancing measures and stuff. Everything lifted. So it was definitely circumstantial.
Brilliant. And have you been out recently as well?
Yeah, it's fine now. Actually, this morning I was performing. It's one of the only gigs there is these days, but I was performing in the garden of a care home. So for people in a care home, and usually we go around the rooms in the care home and making music, but we're not allowed inside the care home at the moment. This is through a charity called The Spits. SPITZ, if anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah.
Taking like quality live music into care homes. But now we play music in the garden. So this morning I was there with my amp and my violin, playing all sorts of music, everything from Beyonce for some of the younger residents to Frank Sinatra for some of the older residents, and a bit of classical, and just everything, anything that people wanted really. And it's funny because I'm going there and they're sort of thinking, oh, you're doing it for us. I'm like just as much I'm doing it for myself. I'm getting out into it's a very nice garden. It's on it's in Islington on the river there, and I'm playing music, like getting back to normal me. And just having a really nice time chatting to them, and so that's a once a week gig for me, and that's the only gig that I have, but it's a beautiful one, and it just kind of it makes me feel like me again, so I'm definitely going out these days,
Good.
Keeping safe, but still it feels good.
It does. That's brilliant.
Life feels better again.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, honestly. Pleasure. But I want to take it back a bit as well, actually, and talk about your first EP that you released, which was obviously amazing. How did that feel to actually get your whole EP out?
Oh, you know what? It was. I would never release an EP solely on my own again.
Yeah, really?
I'm not saying I'd sort of have to go with a label. I'm just saying I did everything from getting all the artwork sorted to like organising a launch party to, organising the studio, just literally everything, the press, whatever. And that was a lot. So it was a whirlwind. You can see, that's my EP cover behind me.
I love that so much.
Art by Az did that for me. And then it got shrunken onto my EP cover. But it was so exciting because usually a violinist is kind of usually the icing on the cake. Do you know what I mean? The sprinkles, it's like normally a track's made or, concept has come up and then the strings go on, almost one of the last things usually to put on. So that's how I work a lot at the moment. Someone sends me an almost finished track and I write and record the strings on it. But this was a totally different process because I was just like, I want it to be string led, I want the string riffs to be the start of it. So just got some producers from the grime scene that I really rated into the studio at Relentless. They kindly gave me some studio time, and we just vibed, and it was amazing. Amazing. I didn't quite know, if that would what it would become, but it very easily became an EP. It could have become an album. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great process. All the different processes were cool.
I got the EP and literally every track is absolute fire. Like, oh my God, this is sick.
I can't believe that was in September 2018.
No way.
Yeah.
2 years ago already.
2 years ago. I know, right? Albums soon come. I need to bring new music out.
But what do you...
I don't know where you've gone, G. Sorry,
No, I'm still here.
The screen just shrunk and I can't see you anymore.
Maybe are you on the phone or laptop?
Active speak. Laptop.
It's
weird because I was talking to you now, but now I'm talking to me.
Okay, go to top right. I think you have speaker view or gallery view. I think it's for you.
Sorry.
It's right. Hi.
No, okay, well now I can see you and I can't see me, but that's okay. I'd rather be speaking to you, so that's fine.
Are you sure? Okay, cool. Back to normal. But kind of like carrying on from the EP, would you ever love to release your own album? Is that the kind of target? One of your targets?
It's definitely coming. Yeah, it's definitely coming. There's a couple of different things I want to do. One is sort of putting a bit more of the classical into grime. So that's probably the next full project in terms of an album. Heads up. And then there's other things that I want to do, sort of original songs, features and things like that. And so the first project that I mentioned is called Classics with an X. That's the working title right now. And I'm currently working on that. Alongside the other project I'm doing at the moment is a tutor book, like almost like a first book, but for cool violin. That's terrible. No, classical's But yeah, I don't, it's very easy to pick up the guitar and learn non-classically, because there's loads of rock guitar, pop guitar, tutor courses and stuff like that. It doesn't really exist so much for the violin. Do you know what I mean? There's the jazzy one, but nothing like, there's not a Grime Violinist study book, that's for sure, but there will be.
See, that would sell like anything. That would. Jesus, a Grime violin book. That would be sick.
Happening. It's in the plan. So you've got two. Those are my two next projects. Yeah.
Amazing. How difficult has it been for you to work on those projects so far? It's been really difficult and harder than you think,
really hard. Because I thought they'd be sort of almost done by now, and they're definitely not. They're still in their infancy. But I feel like I have come out of whatever it was, down period that I was in lockdown. I feel able to focus again, and as long as I don't focus too much on the puppy, I think it'll be quicker from here on in.
Oh, brilliant. I'm wishing you all the very best of luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. Do you have a kind of target date that you'd like to release it, or is it just go with the flow for the time? But not go with the flow, but...
Do you mean time-wise?
Time-wise, yeah.
Yeah, very roughly, but to be honest, the target has already been and gone.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, I think in this time, in this strange half lockdown thing, I don't think putting pressure on myself and deadlines and stuff like that is a wise idea.
It's not.
I think it'll get made when it gets made.
Yeah. I want to ask how you work in terms of working under kind of time constraints. Do you find it a lot harder, or do you find it sometimes works better in your favor when you have, like, say, 3 months, say, to do, say, whatever you need to do?
I think if I'm working with other people, if they give me a deadline, that's the best way to work.
Yeah.
Like, I often, someone says, "Oh, can you jump on this?" And I go, "Yes, by when?" And they're like, "As soon as possible." And I was like, "No, literally give me a day, and you will have it by that day, because I'll make sure that that's in my diary." And also, you can prioritize. If I've got 3 people asking me to do a track, do you know what I mean? At least I know where I am, and I don't feel like, oh my God, I've got to do them all at once. So yeah, short-term deadlines really work for me. In terms of setting my own deadlines, I'm very bad at putting other people's work first. So if someone asks me to jump on things, it's that's paying the bills rather than my work, which isn't yet paying the bills. It's more of a slow burner. So I'm guilty of saying yes to stuff, doing their stuff, and then finding another week's gone and I haven't worked on my own stuff. So that's I think probably a lot of freelancers find that.
How did you find creating your own music for the EP? Was it really hard as well to choose which tracks went onto the EP?
Not really. I think with each producer there was often more than one track actually on the cards, and then I just chose the strongest track. It was fine. There was a couple more producers I was working with, and there was potentially going to be another 2 tracks on the EP, but I just sort of set a really strict deadline because I wanted to bring it out at a certain time, and they just weren't ready by then.
Yeah.
So I've still got those tracks, and they'll probably go somewhere, and they'll go to someone. But yeah, it was whatever worked. It was kind of, I was lucky because I didn't really have too much of a game plan. I just got to go with the flow of it. Yeah,
I love that. But you know what, I want to kind of, I know how busy you are, so I might finish soon actually, but I want to kind of, I always love to ask people the kind of best lessons they've learned since starting their journey into where they are now. So I'll say when you officially became a Grime Violinist, what were the best lessons you learned since starting your journey to now?
I think definitely, as I mentioned earlier in the interview, authenticity. Like, if you do what you love, people will know about it. There's been the odd time where I've done where a label's rung me up and said, "Can you do this track?" And I've done it, and I don't do anything that I hate, but I haven't loved the track. And I think that even shows, like, I will get somehow less take up, even like virtually, on like it being shared and stuff. But I think people can tell, like, that's not actually, it's not hitting me there. So therefore it's not hitting someone else there. So I think doing what you love, like, obviously if you can find a niche, that's great. Like, I found a niche and I'm just running with it. I'm called the Grime Violinist, and obviously I do other non-classical stuff. I'm just a bit of a grime head. But if you do what you love, it'll show. Any other things? I reckon self-belief is huge. I think I couldn't have become the Grime Violinist at any other time in my life. Everything has a time. And if this opportunity even or idea had come 5 years earlier, I wouldn't have had enough self-belief to do it.
Oh, wow.
I had to work on my self-belief to be able to put myself out there as what I like. Because, there's crazy stuff out there. There's crazy like trolls and all sorts of things. You have to be able to, be okay putting yourself out there. I'm not one of these people that puts a lot of my personal life out there. Mm-hmm. You may have noticed there's sort of, my family are not on my Instagram. Even my boyfriend's not much on my Instagram. The puppy's there. Okay, she doesn't have but there's certain things I keep for myself, so it doesn't get, I don't mind. I'm very lucky. I don't get really much bad words at all, but I wouldn't like it if someone says something bad about my family compared with my violin. I'm like, cool, if you don't like my violin playing, calm. But if they said anything about my family, it would just, it would hit me too hard. So I think it's a good idea to think about what you put out there and what you're happy for people to comment on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And definitely keep some things for yourself. Like, I love dancing almost as much as I love music, but there's no videos of me dancing. Like, that's for me, I'll dance at home, I'll dance in classes, I'll dance out, but I don't need people to to comment on that. That's literally a lovely thing to keep for myself. So I definitely say don't put all your cards out there. Privacy is key.
It is. That's really great advice. Really good advice, and I'm going to take that on board as well. But Tan, honestly, it's been amazing to catch up with you again. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Thank you.
Thanks for asking, G. It's an absolute pleasure to speak to you. Do you want to say hi to the puppy before we go?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Please, let's do it. Thank you. I can't wait.
That's fun.
Oh, the puppy!
I can't see myself, so can you see her? Right?
Of course, I can see her. She's so cute. I want her so much.
Giorgio.
Hello, little dog. What's she called?
Called Minnie the mouse.
Minnie the mouse. Oh, she's so cute. I won.
She just woke up. We've got her at a good time, otherwise she's manic.
Oh, the grand puppy. I love it.
Right? Yeah, I did put a little video up on my Instagram of me playing to her for the very first time. She'd not heard of violin before.
Oh, really? Oh.
Intrigued is the word.
Oh, what breed is that again?
Little Pomeranian.
Oh, I love Pomeranians. It's so cute.
Yeah, she's 13 weeks now and she's getting fluffier and fluffier. So, yeah, she's going to be a complete fluff ball. Is
there fluff going everywhere now in your house?
Well, you know what? They're hypoallergenic, so they don't drop hairs.
Oh, really?
Amazing.
Oh, amazing. I'm definitely getting one of those.
Get the matching one.
Will.
I need to see that.
I'll put it on a bow in a few weeks' time then. But I forgot. How can people find you online?
They can check me out at the Grime Violinist on Instagram. And basically, if you type in the Grime Violinist anywhere, I'm the only one in the world, so you'll find me.
Amazing. Yes. Link below as well. Thanks a lot, Tanya. Thank you so much. Amazing
Thank you
episode.
for your support, G. I really, really appreciate it.
Anytime. It's my absolute pleasure. And that's the end of the episode. Take care, everyone. Peace.